March is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. It's an orange day, as you can see. How did they pick orange?
I have no idea.
Really is. Okay, we don't know how it got to be orange, but it is an orange day. And March 11th through the 17th is MS Awareness Week, and March 30th being World MS Day. According to the website of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, this year's theme is Bringing Us Closer. That starts with building awareness, developing an understanding of how this disease can affect the little things in our life that so many normally take for granted. I have the distinct privilege of presenting this proclamation because there was a 12-year period of time in my life when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I had been with my family on vacation, and my family turned to me and they said, "Roger, why is your left leg dragging?" I had no awareness that that was true, but it was. And I went to 3 of the finest hospitals in the country, and they all said the same thing. They took pictures of my brain, and the lesions were there, and I had actually had a Bell's palsy, a left side facial falling a number of years earlier, and they all said, "This is probable MS." And so I began a regime of giving myself shots and taking steroids, and it was not pretty. Ultimately, I decided to follow alternative healing modalities, but that was my path. But 12 years later, they removed the diagnosis. And I stand before you as someone so very blessed. But I'm the exceptional story in that regard. Most of people that get this diagnosis aren't as lucky as I am. And so we have people in our county council family. We have people like our PTA leaders and county council candidates who have had their share of MS. And of course, we have the lead for our disability community, Dr. Seth Morgan, who himself has had his experience with MS. So it is something that we need to pay attention to. There's a quote on the MS Society website from someone who was diagnosed with MS that strikes me as particularly relevant. It reads, "Multiple sclerosis may be a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you as a person. You are who you are, and MS can't take that away from you." So let me turn it over to Dr. Seth Morgan to share his thoughts, and then I'll read this proclamation.
Thank you, Roger, and thank you all for recognizing this important disease. Unfortunately, we don't have a cure for it yet. We have medications that will make the symptoms stop progressing in some people, not in all people. And unfortunately, those medications were not available to me when I was diagnosed. Had they been, I might not be here this morning. I might be in my practice of medicine taking care of people. However, my deficits were such that I felt I wasn't doing a good job with the patients that I was seeing. You see, MS can do anything. MS can cause people to have trouble urinating because they can't get the urine out, and sometimes they have trouble with urinating without wanting to. It can cause people to lose vision, or it can cause double vision. So it's a mixed bag. It can cause weakness. It can cause spasticity. It can be virtually anything. And as a result, it is often misdiagnosed, or it is attributed to psychosomatic problems. And there is a delay in diagnosis, averaging 2 years. Now, 2 years may sound like not much, but if you have a progressive disease and there's medication to make it not as prominently progressive, 2 years is a vast amount of time. So it's the first step is to get awareness so that people know that they should be thinking of this disease. Sometimes the doctors don't think about this. They're not sure what it is, and they throw up their hands. So the first step is awareness that just to think about it. Ask your doctor, could it be? And should we do something else to figure that out? That's the critical first step. I wanted to tell you that in the last year, the estimate of prevalence of this disease in this country has doubled. Now, it doesn't mean that we've all of a sudden gotten a lot more cases. It's just that the epidemiologic studies were way under quantifying the number that they thought were in this country. Any of us with MS could have told you that that's true. Everyone knows someone who has MS. You may not know that they have MS, or they may not yet know that they have MS, but it is a very, very common disease, and one that we have to work very hard to treat early and effectively so that people can stay active, can stay working in our society, and a part of our society, so that they are not feeling that they are a burden on the rest of us. Certainly, that's something that I've dealt with in my time. So that's the reason for this proclamation being so important. So I do thank the county executive and the county council for their kindness in this proclamation, which for those of you who come frequently to these, you know that this is a yearly event for me. It's not something that, if we get to just one person who has early symptoms that can get treated and not progress, I think we've done a good job. So you'll see me back every year trying to do this.
So let me read the proclamation. Whereas multiple sclerosis is a neurological disease of the central nervous system affecting more than 1 million people in the United States, with more than 12,000 people living with this disease in Maryland, and the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, Greater D.C., Maryland chapter, reporting that in Montgomery County, over 2,000 people are living with MS. And whereas multiple sclerosis generally strikes people in the prime of their lives, between ages 20 through 50, with the cause of this often debilitating and erratically progressive disease remaining unknown with no available cure currently. And whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has been committed for more than 70 years to a world free of MS, heightening public knowledge of the disease and being a driving force of MS research, relentlessly pursuing treatments and striving to find a cure, investing more than $900 million in groundbreaking research with stopping MS in its tracks and restoring what has been lost, being the mission of the society and one that all Americans and residents of Montgomery County should support. And whereas Montgomery County, Maryland recognizes the importance of raising awareness of MS to assure timely treatment while striving to find the cause of and cure for this disease, and expresses its appreciation for the dedication to this goal that the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, Greater D.C., Maryland chapter, has shown, striving to create a world free of MS. Now, therefore, do we, Isaiah Leggett as County Executive and Hans Reamer as County Council President, hereby proclaim March 11 through 17, 2018 as Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week in Montgomery County. We encourage all of our residents to learn more about multiple sclerosis and what they can do to support individuals with MS and their families. Signed, Isaiah Leggett and Hans Reamer.
I just wanted to add a personal note of appreciation for Seth Morgan for striving through your condition and your diagnosis and being a leader in the community, helping us not only see a person contributing substantially to making our community a better place to live, while enduring a health condition, but leading our organization. It shows that diagnoses sometimes, that everyone can greet their circumstances and persevere and continue moving forward. And really want to recognize you for that.